So I just spent a ridiculously long amount of time figuring out how to add more data to my plan because they only sell you in 2 gigabyte increments, and I am approaching 2 gigabytes because I finally found a little pocket of the living room, of the house, of the neighborhood, no joke, that right when I sit here, exactly right here, with my phone right there, the 3G stays on. Don't ask me how this witchcraft works, but I have no other explanation. It's gotta be witchcraft. There's no way any modern technological gizmo can have that big of a difference between here and there. Now, I obviously don't know for real, but I feel like there's no way, man. Like 3 feet, literally, in any direction. I could go outside in that direction, like closer to the town, it would be nothing. Closer to the east, closer to the west, the south, and there'd be nothing. But for some reason, when I'm right exactly here, it fucking gets 3G all the time, or else I'm just on E or GPRS. So that's trippy stuff. Anyway, it's working, and it's Friday night, and all my social obligations, in a good way, are finished. And one of the students is borrowing the guitars. So I'm like, I need more internet tonight. I'm gonna fucking hang the fuck out. Go on Reddit, fucking maybe even make a phone call or Skype or something. And you know what? If that's how that $15 is spent tonight on 2 gigs of internet, I'm not drinking, I'm not going out. I didn't pay for any food today, like I bought weed for $1. Like, it's all good if that's how I'm spending my evening. Being productive, working, doing some networking stuff that needs to be done. It needs to be done online. It's good to edit video all day, which is what I've been doing, but it's also not in my worst interest to do some online connections with. So that's just a little bit of motherfucking context to where we're at today. I believe in the last edition, I was tripping balls. I was paranoid. I was pretty sure I was high. Maybe I wasn't. Pretty sure. I think it was after the Rasta guy left, and then the other Rasta guy, Mark, came over and tripped me out by looking around, eyeing everything. Anyway, that guy's like my best friend now. He comes over every morning, every night. He cooked dinner for us last night. He brings coconuts. He brings weed. He brings really, really, really good cheer and good vibes. And it made me realize, like, it's always the most pure, most legit people that I meet and encounter that make me feel the most uncomfortable in different ways, either with myself or with my situation. They're always the people that make me feel the most uncomfortable. I felt this way around the sound healer guy, Chaitanishri, in Nepal, a year ago or so. I just always feel this way, and I think it's because they're coming from this place of purity, more pure than me, or at least in the thing that's making me feel uncomfortable. So this time it was all this like suspicion. I had all this suspicion. So when I first arrived, and then from all the everyone saying, "Oh, Jamaica," and then the stabbing, right off the bus, I had this suspicion. I've just been paranoid, like, oh my god. But then he came over and he was like, "Yo, man, it's good. We're good, man." And just like the way he said it, like, this is Jamaica. You're Jamaican now, man. Keep opening the veranda. Say hello to the neighborhood. Good, man. Good, man. So once he spit that love knowledge onto me, suddenly it was like this big weight cleared, this shell cracked, and I was just like, all right. And yeah, and he hangs out with us every day, and like parts of me are like, oh, I'm obligated to someone because he's gonna want to hang out. Or the kids, they come every day and they want to hang out. So parts of me are like uncomfortable. Oh, I gotta give him attention. The other part is like, no, it's a good way to develop your boundaries, and not be too polite, and like be strong in who you are, respectfully. And it's a good way to remember, like, why do you always need to be alone? Why are you worried about like spending time with people that love you? What about it is making you uncomfortable or like, ew, like abhor the act of spending time with someone that really cares about you in a way that you don't reciprocate. And if you do, it's in a much different fashion, on different energy dimensions. And I'm definitely a Westerner. There's no doubt about that. I definitely like my privacy and my alone time, and I'm sensitive and like touchy if I don't have it. Such a Westerner thing. It's a value we have, is to stay there's some movement going on somewhere. I can't tell from where. Oh, maybe it's raining. It's probably raining. Which would be really nice to go out in that rain right about now. Shit. I'm gonna shut the fan off. That's crazy how I was talking about the paranoia stuff, and then I heard the rain and I had the fan on, the artificial sound, and it made me think someone was outside or something. So that machine from Babylon obstructed my perceptual truth. My organs of sense were perceiving interference from this fan as to what's truly going on outside, which is rain. Since I didn't have that purity, I heard someone outside, someone stepping on the tile and crumpling up trash, and felt a need to be worried, when really I was just distracting myself with a fan. So it actually made me more. So, not that it's the fan's fault, and this wonderful fan is keeping me from sweating my motherfucking ass off in here, but it's something to say about my senses. So something in me doesn't trust the senses, right? It's allowing there to be a distraction, and it's automatically suspicious that something's gonna come kill it or something. Because that wasn't even my senses, like my mind. That was my body, like literally thinking, gotta be on my game. There's some crazy shit happening. But it's just rain, which is crazy shit in a way. Oh man, that's some real rain. I hope the microphone's picking this up even half as strongly as I'm hearing it. I've been eating a lot. Potatoes, boiled bananas, man, and yams. Lots of boiled bananas, probably too many. I'm feeling kind of bloaty from it. I don't know if it's constipating me or not, but probably is, because it's starchy. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. That's why I'm feeling kind of gross in my third chakra. Fucking flour dumplings, yams, boiled bananas. Every starch known to man outside of potato. And then, I just like, because of all the video editing I'm doing and camera work, I can only sit down to write for brief stints in really intense metaphor. Science fiction, normally. Just in brief paragraphs, put in some kind of tone that indicates objectivity in experience. But maybe that's why it's science fiction. It's the objective universe that the author is defining. Doesn't help that I'm reading a lot of yoga sutras, and that shit is psychedelic as fuck. Maybe I'll pull that out for this episode soon. But anyway, that's where this episode comes from, is that the way to process through all this information that I'm constantly being bombarded with by my senses, by my mostly my senses, actually, only my senses. like, I guess the skin is absorbing stuff from the outside, but the stuff that's the most intense, like the sounds, maybe the sights even, there's nothing really uncomfortable to look at here. But there are things that are uncomfortable to hear. So the sensitive hearing is kind of like, sensitive. Because patois is very, very primal in a way. Not in its... primal in its delivery. Not in its, like, explanation. Not in its intricacy. But in its delivery, it's really intense. Like, it always sounds like someone's mad at me when they say hi. But they're really just saying hello. And that cultural programming is causing me paranoia. It was. I guess it still is in a way. But that cultural programming is going through something. And it's uncomfortable. When you're rewriting yourself, it's uncomfortable. Software, even hardware. You can rewire your hardware, man. You can rewire that hardware, man. I don't even know how to say that in patois. There's these weird words that are its own language. Like expensive is der. Der. That means expensive. Der. If you say over there, you say over there. Over here, over there. Or there, or something like that. But it's not der. Over there. No, that's expensive. Over there. Over here, no, over there. Over there. And so these weird phrases that come from English, like over there, but parts of the grammar come from Spanish, because it was a Spanish colony before English colony, so there's me. Me no wanna. I don't want to. Wanna. Me no wanna. Almost like no me gusta, or no me quiero. Algo, something like that. So like, that me came from more Spanish than English as some kind of whatever subject, proper pronoun. But then sometimes when you say I am American, you say I and I is American. So that's kind of English. So anyway, it's not about it being like my cultural programming has this bias against it. So when I hear it, when I perceive the language, it sounds like kind of like dumbed down English, or like really fucked up English. Like, oh, the grammar isn't right. But that's not true. It's just its own fucking language that just happens to sound like English. Because even when you hear something that you think you understand, it doesn't mean it means what you think it means based on your English cognition. So if you hear there, you think, oh, maybe they mean there, over there. But really they meant expensive. So I hope that proves my little point here, because I don't know much more vocabulary to elaborate on it. But dude, man, like, what the fuck? So there's all kinds of things like that. And like down by the river, it's like, you don't say like going to the river, you say, oh, me going down by the river. I'm going down by the river. It's like, yeah, that's what you would. I'm going down by the river. I'm going to the river, but down by the river, I don't know. Makes more sense in a way. But you're not saying down by the river, you're saying down by the river. You're saying it in patois, not English. It just happens to sound like an English phrase that's similar. So pont de fleur, pont de corner, pont de river. It means upon the river, upon the floor, upon the corner. In American English, we just say on the corner, but they say pon, upon, on. I never knew what that meant. Never. It's so similar to English, but I never could have figured that out. Upon what? Upon the corner. I never would have I had to ask, what does pon mean from that Major Lazer song and stuff, you know? So that's some trippy shit. So then, in its delivery, as I was trying to say earlier before I sidetracked, its delivery is really intense, so you kind of feel this like, ugh, you want to fight kind of thing, like when a lot of males talk to each other. But beyond that, once I finally start to get it, right, I'm starting to process it, it makes sense. Like, this place has been kind of turmoil for a long time, and I'm not sure if I developed this thought based on my own projections of fear and me trying to come up with some kind of rationalization to justify my fear or paranoia about being the only white person. But I feel like the reason part of the aggression in the language is because this area of the world, the Caribbean's been fucked for a few hundred years. Black people aren't native here. There was an indigenous population that more or less isn't here anymore. And they don't speak their language because all the African slaves were brought over and switched up so no one could communicate. So this language developed from fucking heinous shit, man, from slavery, from the most fucked up thing by the most fucked up people. And so then I was talking to this neighbor. She just got back from living in England, and she's happy to be back. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can understand why the Europeans were always so angry when they came to the Americas, because they were over there in the cold and like the not. I mean, the nature's nice, of course. The nature's nice everywhere, but this is just majestic, like mountains, jungles, and so abundant in its fruit and vegetables, and you can live off the land so simply, and the rivers, and like, of course the Europeans would be angry. That's not the way society operated over there in the old world. So this language, patois, came from this fucked up shit, from Spanish, from the English, and then this patois developed. I need to research it more, but it developed from that, which was aggressive. The poor, like, not to mention, like, humans in general can be pretty violent, but African tribes are really violent. And, like, they always have been. That's how they are. So that's in the DNA of this particular genre of human beings on the planet. They were brought from Africa with a whole lot of energy for aggression. Then they're in this thing of just aggression. And so now the language is aggressive to someone like me who comes from a different lineage of shit, even though it's also aggression. But I have my cultural programming on top of it, which causes the interpretation of my sensory input to be fearful, paranoid, scared, because it sounds so aggressive. It's not aggressive. They speak with love. They're talking to me with love. They're talking to me with nothing but genuine intentions. Yet I perceive that negatively because of what I'm projecting, based on being in a new environment, new experience, or something I'm unfamiliar with. So that said, let's go back, and instead of analyzing my psychology, going out with this auto psychoanalysis bullshit, then what is the other end of it? Instead of the scientific analysis, right, or the behavioral analysis, the psychology, science, what am I feeling in my heart? Well, when I look at people in the eyes and I'm smiling and this and that, parts of me in my heart really are feeling danger, or like, be careful. So maybe that's it. It's not like this person itself is someone to fear, but there's maybe just impurities that you don't need to get entangled with. And it's good to be aware of that, but it doesn't mean you have to assume the worst. So I guess I've been assuming the worst when I get that, like, yo, be careful of this person's vibes thing. I guess I've been resorting to just thinking the worst of that person, or like fearing the worst case scenario. But that also could have been the moon. It was the new moon. I think it's worst case scenario week, which I was wrong about for a long time. But now it's the second week, which is best case scenario, where you're working hard, serotonin, everything's great. And now I'm back at that, and I'm, talking about it to myself on a camera. I don't have a conclusion to make, but this is the type of thing I would write in a new book if I journaled, which I don't, because I feel like I don't have the energy to move my fingers for that, since I'm so busy with video stuff and music stuff. It's just not the art I'm supposed to be embracing right now. So instead, here are these videos for YouTube to watch when the time is right. Jordan talks his ass off to himself, which is what I did as a kid when I had camera. It's what I've kind of always done. I've got this neurotic thing in my brain. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just who I am. So it's healthy for me to let this go like this. Because I also think it'd be cool for people to hear. Like, why should I keep all this weird ass shit inside of me? Like, I'm sure someone out there would find this self conversation interesting at some level. Even if you had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. I imagine something about it. Something in there, if you were to listen to all of it, would strike. Or not. Thanks for listening. See ya.